Back for game number 3. Some conversation with friends about Harimoto's game, the power he has. While he's not a super huge guy, let service. Part of the power comes from the fact that he takes the ball so early, just less time for the opponent to react. Rarely does he back off the table. I mean, if you look at some of the all-time greats of table tennis, starting with simply the nation of China, it's not a coincidence that players who are successful tend to stay closer. Oh, it does not come down. A very wristy shot. That was Karakosevic-esque. I think it was 2007, the US Open versus Wilson Jong. Karakosevic played a ball from below the table like that went flying by. Right into the middle again, the forehand flip. From a strength standpoint, though, as we come into a timeout for Gerasimenko, I will say that physically, I think Harimoto's probably a lot stronger than he looks. Again, look at the quads. He's starting to build, and even his forearms, his arms in general, he's bigger than most of the players on the team. The physical fitness is quite strong on both sides. Tough for me to hear. I don't know if that was Kazakh, but I'm not 100% fluent in Kazakh, so I'm not going to attempt to make a translation. If I did, it'd probably just be something encouraging and way off. Here we go, Harimoto back from Kirill's timeout. You also have to imagine there's something to be said about being closer to the table in general. The thing is, if you try to play it short, Harimoto's so good over the table. And if you play it deep, you're entering the open rally, so it's got to be very specific on the table. What are you going to do against that? I mean, remember, for those of you just tuning in who haven't been following Harimoto since essentially his birth, or at least the last 2.5 years, the whole world's been talking about him. He's beaten all the legends, almost all the legends anyway, of the sport. Chinese national team, on the other hand, still has a bit of a chokehold on Harimoto. Taking Shushin to Game 7 in a tournament that even Fan Zhendong couldn't beat Shushin. Harimoto was in a close position to win that match. Harimoto, one of very few players to beat Timo Boll this year, alongside Dmitry Ovtcharov. He has also beaten Vladimir Samsonov. You know, it's still possible, anything could happen, but coming into this match, based on their history, Kirill, an outstanding player who's underrated, but Harimoto is on the fast track to improvement. I mean, other than Dima, who just became world #1, look, we've already got a timeout. This is very astute. This is quick play. This is not someone who's waiting. And whether the call was made, I imagine the call was made by Coach Kurashima. This is the type of pressure. It's a trend even that we're seeing the Chinese national team coaches calling earlier and earlier in timeouts. From what I caught, it seems like he talked a lot about the details, the Chiquita, just a little bit when it comes in with spin. Be ready for the quick counter game. You're strong off the bounce. Stay there. I heard Yukuri slowly. Don't be bothered by the slow pace. Stay relaxed. Well, Harimoto is definitely the faster of the two in terms of reaction time and game. Short strokes on top of the table. Someone like Kirill Gerasimenko could break rhythm, slowing it down. Clever idea there, soft flip, and then the big forehand from the middle. Harimoto is still not a complete player, but he's a relatively complete player. He's very comfortable letting the opponent have the first attack. Back edge of the table, but still you can see why. Harimoto from blocks to counter punches. I feel like block isn't really part of the vocabulary. He always adds something to the ball. You know, one of the highlights of the night at the Star Awards was Harimoto's speech, which we'll talk about maybe in the next game. Because right now, Harimoto has 7 game points to go up 3-0. And while from time to time you might see an exhibition point here and there, I don't think we'll see one in this match. Kirill battling in front of the home crowd. Backhand down the middle of the table saves a game point. Still 6 left for Harimoto. Oh, pressure. Kirill's everywhere. Way wide on the forehand, back in the City Group logo. And then way wide on the backhand just in case. Look at this. Anticipates well. Pressure just floating around, gliding like a ghost. Too tough, catches him while he's still backing up, and off the bounce. It's Harimoto who takes it 11-5, even more dominant than the game before. He just keeps getting better. This is the trajectory, the path. Even as you back up to look at what's happening in the life of Harimoto, we'll see game number 4 coming up right after this.